Sugar Loaf rises ahead, clean, symmetrical, almost too perfect. It's the shape children draw when asked to draw a mountain, a triangle against a blue sky. And that's where its story begins. Because long before guidebooks and railway posters, travellers were already praising its classic form. Writers sketched it in words, artists exaggerated its symmetry, and slowly the idea of Sugar Loaf became as important as the hill itself. I'm walking now in the suburbs of Abergavenny. Although I've never spent any great deal of time in this town previously, one place that I have been a couple of times is what's coming up right now, and that is the cricket ground. It'd be nice just to come in and have a little look. I was here last year. All the activities going on the pitch. Morning. That's probably why people were looking at me when it says no right of way. I get some funny looks. So this is the avenue, back on the avenue. And when we get out of these suburbs and on the trail up and out of the town, we will talk more about the Sugar Loaf. So we finally hit the trail proper. You know, I thought this is actually a challenge, a proper challenge. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a walk in the park. Never was going to be that. But one that you've got to grab with both hands. I mean, they're MARILYNs. Come on, they're going to be really tough. What you see there behind me is the Blorange. Now that's this afternoon's bit of walking. So it gets no easier. These two I'm going to attack today. They're going to be tough. They really are. What can we say about our first challenge today? Worldwide, there are mountains, hills, peaks, summits, buttes, ridges and rock formations, all with the name Sugar Loaf. Australia, Brazil, Canada, Greenland, Ireland, New Zealand, Norway, the Philippines, Sierra Leone, the United States, Uruguay, and of course here in the United Kingdom. And even in the UK, there are 4. There are 2 in England and there are 2 in Wales. But only 1 in Monmouthshire. And that's the one we're climbing today. Ooh. Yeah, it's going to be good. Growing up in Somerset, the Sugar Loaf mountain in South Wales was something I'd heard of and cropped up every now and again as one of the biggest mountains in the general area of the southwest and Wales. I was never in that circle of people that did that. And when I was old enough, I was into other things at the time. I wasn't really into climbing. And today is the day where I finally get to have a go at it. 60 years in the making. By taking this kind of in a gentle way as possible, I'll have some reserves left to attack this afternoon's walk, the final walk of my trip, the Blorange. The Blorange is not a MARILYN. So this is my 3rd and final MARILYN getting up to the Sugar Loaf on this trip. but I couldn't go without having a go at the Blorange while I was here. First of all, let's have a go at the loaf. Come on. So how about that for a conveniently placed bench? Lovely. So we've just come out of the wood area now. That says that we've got quite a bit more to do yet. So we've got the last remaining old trees with those gnarly branches. Fantastic old wood.
Sugar Loaf isn't a perfect cone. It isn't even a single peak. Just a tilted wedge of old red sandstone, shaped by time and weather. Victorian tourists described it as volcanic because it looked volcanic. And soon the myth became part of the mountain's identity. Not because it was true, but because people liked the story. Its name is surprisingly recent, borrowed from an 18th century household object that no longer exists, a tall conical block of refined sugar wrapped in blue paper. The name stuck because it fit the shape, and once the name arrived, the identity followed. Railway posters used it as one of the symbols of the region, bringing tourists to marvel at it and artists to paint it. The hill didn't change, the story did. It's not the highest hill, not the wildest, not the most dramatic, but the most recognisable. We made Sugar Loaf iconic by repeating its story until the story became inseparable from the landscape. Because once you stand on the summit, you understand why people kept talking it up. The view is extraordinary. The Black Mountains, the Brecon Beacons, the Herefordshire Plains, the Malverns in the distance, even the Bristol Channel, and my town in Somerset on a clear day. Maybe Sugar Loaf didn't start as a legend, but once people climbed it, they realised it deserved to become one. The legend wasn't false, it was earned. Sugar Loaf's story isn't about geology or folklore, it's about imagination, about pride, about the way a community chooses to shape on the skyline and says, that one, that's ours. The mountain didn't ask to be iconic, but people made it so, and in doing that, they turned a tilted wedge of sandstone into an emblem of a whole region. This is the mountain we made into a legend, and the legend we still climb today.